Workerism is a political theory that emphasizes the importance of, or glorifies, the working class. Workerism, or operaismo, was of particular significance in Italian left politics. Workerism as revolutionary praxis. Workerism is a political analysis whose main elements were to merge into autonomism that starts out from the power of the working class. Michael Hart and Antonio Negri, known as operaist and autonomist writers, offer a definition of operaismo, quoting from Marx as they do so. Operaismo builds on Marx's claim that capital reacts to the struggles of the working class. The working class is active and capital reactive. Technological development, where there are strikes, machines will follow. It would be possible to write a whole history of the inventions made since 1830 for the sole purpose of providing capital with weapons against working class revolt. Political development. The factory legislation in England was a response to the working class struggle over the length of the working day. The formulation, official recognition and proclamation by the state were the result of a long class struggle. Quote, operaismo takes this as its fundamental axiom. The struggles of the working class precede and prefigure the successive restructurations of capital. The Workerists followed Marx in seeking to base their politics on an investigation of working class life and struggle. Through translations made available by Danilo Montaldi and others, they drew upon previous activist research in the United States by the Johnson-Forrest tendency and in France by the group Socialisme et Barbarie. The Johnson-Forrest tendency had studied working-class life and struggles within the Detroit auto industry, publishing pamphlets such as The American Worker, Punching Out, and Union Committeemen and Wildcat Strikes. That work was translated into French by Socialisme et Barbarie and published serially in the journal. They too began investigating and writing about what was going on inside workplaces, in their case inside both auto factories and insurance offices. The journal Quade Ernie Rossi, along with its successor Class Opera, both founded by Negri and Tronti, developed workerist theory, focusing on the struggles of proletarians. Associated with this theoretical development was a praxis based on workplace organizing, most notably by lotta continua. This reached its peak in the Italian hot autumn of 1969. By the mid-1970s, however, the emphasis shifted from the factory to the social factory, the everyday lives of working people in their communities. The operaist movement was increasingly known as autonomist. Workerism is a negative cultural phenomenon. More broadly, workerism can imply the idealization of workers, especially manual workers, working class culture and manual labor in general. Socialist realism is an example of a form of expression that would be likely to be accused of workerism in this sense. But this also applies to liberalism and fascism, such as Franco's Falangist movement, which often used propaganda showing workers living and working in equitable conditions. The charge of workerism is often leveled at syndicalists, but this is less justifiable. While governments have used workerism to exploit the working class, whether they're communist or liberal governments, syndicalists owe their very existence to the existence of a working class which they supposedly represent. Traditional communist parties are also thought to be workerist, because of the supposed glorification of manual workers to the exclusion of white-collar workers. This use of the term was the most common English language use during the 20th century. Lenin's accusations of workerism. V.I. Lenin charged a number of Russian socialists with being workerist for opportunistically following the political or cultural movements of the working class, instead of holding a separate Marxist political position.